Hey y'all, John here from Second Chance Composting. Please like and subscribe to our videos. Secondchancecomposting.com is our website. Do all sorts of videos about composting, equipment, pretty much run the gamut of hauling, processing, selling the finished product, and trying to do more of these reviews of the equipment we're using. So today, I'm going to do a review of this Carry-On 6x8 trailer. Now, I got this last year, so I got it a year ago at Tractor Supply. It was right around $1,500, and I got it on tax-free weekend, so I was able to save a little bit of money. I use this for a lot of different things. This is very helpful when we don't want to take out the big dump trailer. You know, right now I got some trash on there. I'm going to the transfer station tomorrow. So let me first go over the trailer itself, and then I'll tell you how it's worked for us. So, like I said, 6x8. We put our totes up onto it. I can fit probably over 16 of these 32-gallon totes on here. You can get 4 across, and I usually do rows of 12. I usually do 3 rows of 4 for 12. Sometimes I add a couple more. I've never had to get 16 on there full, but I can carry 14 full totes with no issue. So this is very handy for us when we don't want to take out, like I said, the big dump trailer and rinse everything. So I'll bring the totes and I'll swap them out. So I'll load this up with totes, get on site, swap one off, swap one back. So it's good for what it is. I mean, for $1,500, it's made its money back pretty quickly for me. We outfitted it to put this sign on it. I had Don, my equipment guy and stepfather, help me. He actually pretty much didn't help me, did it himself. Put this sign on there, big, nice advertisement on the back. So let me go over some of this stuff. Haven't had any problem with the wood yet. It's only been a year. One time I had the ball fall off for no real reason. It hadn't clicked in properly enough, but it's never been a problem other than that. I would say the one thing I want to mention is we have our license plate up top, but it's supposed to go down here. Problem is, twice I've lost it. Once the whole thing got ripped off, don't know where or when. Another time I actually saw where it happened. I picked it up and we put it back up here because I don't want to deal with that again. So these things pop off here. I wish there was a little bit better of a way to hold it on there. It's just a very small piece that goes across to hold it in, as you can see. Same thing, and then you kind of push it forward and pop it over here, same thing. See that very small thing holding it there at the bottom right? At the bottom, and then this comes down and we wheel stuff up. I've moved small equipment with this. I've moved trash with it, compost. It's very handy, and for what it is, I like having this because I'm not driving around a trailer that's worth, $20,000. I'm driving one worth 15, so if something were to happen, it's not as big of a deal. So yeah, you just push it back up. Pretty simple. Locks in like that. This is way flimsier than it should be. I actually don't like it very much. It's way too flimsy. That piece that holds it's too flimsy. And also, we just had this fixed. We just had this welded more because it just had this one bar coming over like that, and it was so flimsy. It was basically gonna fall off. This side actually did break off here. This is why we had to have it welded on. This part broke off, and he added this plate on top to keep it stronger because this was the original, just this here, really flimsy. Oh, I did have an issue with this, actually a pretty significant one. Within the year, we've also had to replace these bolts and washers. There's another one. We replaced those fully. I drove 3 hours away to pick up some totes, and when I got there, I took down went to take down the gate, and the entire thing fell off. This side, all the pieces had fallen off. There was nothing left holding it up, and I was down in Boston, 3 hours away. So that was a fiasco. I had to find somebody there. Luckily, I was at a DPW yard, and somebody helped me. Had a couple extra pieces of equipment, and just makeshift put it on until I ratcheted it all. I ratcheted it all on just to be able to get back safely. But this is not. I'm not doing heavy duty stuff with this, and it still has had some issues. So the issue with this kind of breaking off, partially my fault. I backed into something slightly, and I barely touched it, and this thing bent pretty significantly. So it doesn't take much. So that was really my issue, but the other one was already getting bad too, and really after a year it shouldn't have been like that. Having to replace those after a year, I use this thing twice a week, regularly, and then maybe a couple other times here and there for different side jobs and things. So I'm not putting it to heavy use, and it still was falling apart pretty significantly, that part. Also the lights, we had to rewire the whole thing. I know I'm saying a lot of bad things here. We had to rewire the lights. This light had popped off. I put one on, and then that came off again. And we rewired it, and it's been fine since. And then the wheels were a little squeaky, so Don went in and did some work on the wheels. Nothing heavy duty. But so, there's been some maintenance on it, but nothing too costly. For $1,500, I'm happy with it. It really gives me an extra option for other things. Like I said, I can fit a decent amount of totes on here for smaller jobs, things like that. It's got some decent hook-ins. There's a hook there. You can hook into here. You can see I strapped into there. I strapped into here. You can strap in there. No problems with the wheels. Like I said, the wheel issue wasn't a wheel issue. It was just, I forget what Don said it was, but he just went in and did a little bit of work underneath, and it was fine. Nothing big, nothing significant. This cover popped off long ago. Yeah, I get a lot out of this thing. Definitely not the sturdiest, but those few things are not huge, and if you just keep your eye on them, I don't think it'd be a real problem. I don't really like the way it takes forever to raise it up, and that's already getting very flimsy. You can see the rust on that. So now I just kind of leave it and then lift it back up by hand. It's so light. I can push this thing around the yard myself very easily. It's smaller, so it's a little bit more detailed to backing up properly than the bigger trailer. But and then when you register it or insure it, or both, I can't remember which or all, but you have to let them know how much you're gonna carry and weight with it. So I just put whatever the minimal was, because the weight is really not significant at all what we're carrying. I'm not moving big heavy equipment or anything like that. Like I said, basically some totes, some trash every now and then. I'll go load up wood chips on this thing or something, like bagged sawdust, bagged wood chips, put them on it. I've been happy with it for $1,500. Like I said, I had it about a year, and I've already made my money back with it easily, and saved my other trailer a lot of road time, which really doesn't need to be on the road that much. The fact that it's got this lift gate, it's pretty standard. But when I started the business, I was using a dump truck with ramps I had to take on and put off each time, which was ridiculous. And then I used my sister's kayak trailer for a while, which didn't have a gate on it that went down, and you literally had to lift the totes up onto it. Even that height of a lift of these totes when they're heavy is significant. Can be almost impossible. So this lift gate is amazing to me. So what I do is I take the totes, I put them in here. I'll show you here. I leave one in here like this. Let me show you. I'm not gonna be able to put it in because I have the trash. But this one goes in like that, and then I bring the ratchet up through here, and then I put it in, hook it in there like that, and I ratchet all of them in at once so they don't go flying off. I wish there was a better system. I want to build something to be able to just push them forward in like a bar or something, but that's a project for another day. So it for my job, what I use it for, very convenient, very helpful, free advertising. If I wanted to park this thing somewhere by the side of a road, there's advertising right there. Just leave it there. I probably should do that more, but yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. Like, I have tried to clean every now and then, but it's been good to me. You got to know what you're buying and what you're going to use it for and how much weight you're going to put onto it. But this thing's nice to have around. For $1,500, I don't know how much it is now, but that was last year. Again, I've said it numerous times, but I've made my money back pretty quickly with it. Does a lot of cool little jobs that otherwise wouldn't be able to do, whether it be something I can't lift up into the truck itself or something where I don't feel like taking the dump trailer out. Little jobs here and there. I haven't delivered compost with it or anything like that, but you know, at some point, if I wanted to put some on a pallet and put it in there, I could do that. So there's significant different ways of using this, and the 6x8 worked perfect because I could fit 4 of my totes across. And you just want to size whatever tote you're using to be sure what you're gonna be able to get on there. I did all the math beforehand, and there was a smaller one available, and then there's some bigger ones too. But this one made the most sense because the jobs we were doing that weren't when we were out on a big day of hauling. The jobs we do are small enough where we can, you know, bring 16, 12 totes, you know, 14 if we need to. We could fit, like I said, 16, possibly even more on here if we needed to. But once I get up to that many, I'm probably going to be switching out and kind of moving the hauling days around and things like that in order to accommodate just using the dump trailer. So this is great if you're growing or for other situations where, you know, you don't need or want to bring out big equipment. If I bring out the dump trailer, I'm bringing out the rinsing system and filling that up with water, and, you know, bringing out the pressure washer and the generator. So I don't bring any of that out when I bring this. I just bring the totes, swap them, come back, leave them until we're gonna get the other stuff out, and I can kind of store the totes a day or two until I need to rinse fully. So that's how I do it. This thing has worked well for us. Said a couple significant problems. Just keep an eye on the flimsiness of this. Keep an eye on these here. This weld was $50 to get these both welded. So what the heck, you know, this thing wouldn't have made it through. It's September, mid-September now. This thing wouldn't have made it through another month or two, or definitely not the winter, without a weld on it. This thing was totally falling apart. And I said part of that was my fault for hitting it slightly, but those bolts should not have come off. The lights should not have been as bad as they were. But those are little things, what I've been able to do with it. And this sign is actually pretty significant weight. So this is not an easy lift. You can do it one person simply enough, but helps to have 2 people lift it if need be, especially with this extra weight on there. But you can lift, I go out all the time, just me with this, and lift it down and up multiple times a day. So that's it. This is the Carry-On 6x8 that I bought at Tractor Supply for right around $1,500 last year, and pretty happy with it. A few issues here and there, nothing crazy and significant to you know, not be happy with what I bought. And a really good, I don't want to say cheap because it all depends on where you're at in your business. But for me, an affordable option that can change the game for you if you're, I wouldn't say change the game, but can definitely give you some better options if you've got a little bit of cash flow coming in and you want to make your job easier. I use the other kayak trailer for like a year, and it was ridiculous. I could only fit like 6 or 7 on there, and I had to lift them all up. So if I could go back in time, I would have just bought this then. I would have spent the $1,500 right then and there. My life would have been so much easier from day one. But that's part of what I do, is make my life harder than it has to be. So I learned the hard way. Just go ahead and get one of these bad boys. And I'm happy I did. And I think it'll last me for much longer. Definitely a few more years. I'd like to get 10 years out of it if I could. So that's that. The Carry-On 6x8 utility trailer from Tractor Supply. SecondChanceComposting.com. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for listening. Take care, everybody.